Hello, everyone, and thank you so much for joining us. We begin our report with the aftermath of Hurricane Milton. The storm made landfall Wednesday night as a Category 3 hurricane near Siesta Key on the western side of Florida. Milton spawned more than 30 tornadoes and caused catastrophic storm surge. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis says some areas received up to 18 inches of rain. State officials confirm at least 10 people have died, and according to Power Outage US, about 3 million Floridians are without electricity. Tens of thousands of residents spent the night in shelters while others evacuated. One of those shelters, Tropicana Field in St. Petersburg, had its roof ripped off. No injuries were reported there. Stadium officials say the venue's roof was built to withstand 115-mile-per-hour winds. However, with Milton, winds reached a maximum of sustained winds of 120 miles per hour. On Thursday, President Joe Biden warned conditions in Florida are still very dangerous. He also addressed the problem with the spread of storm disinformation.
We know from previous hurricanes that it's often the case that more lives are lost the days following the storm than actually during the storm itself. Vice President Harris and I have been in constant contact with the state and local officials. We're offering everything they need, despite the misinformation and lies. The truth is, we're providing the resources needed to rescue, recover, and rebuild.
For more information, I want to bring in CBS News correspondent Tom Hanson in Daytona Beach, Florida. I know you've been hard at work this entire time, Tom. Just give us a sense of what areas were hit the hardest there in Florida.
Hey there, Jerika. Good to be with you. Well, because this storm carved across virtually every part of Florida, the center of Florida, it's really hard to quantify which parts were hit the hardest. But let's start on the western side, because no doubt that is where the storm slammed in and caused devastating conditions. As you mentioned, that storm made landfall on Siesta Key, a community that was just getting back on its feet from Hurricane Helene. That includes the debris piles and a massive blender of a storm picking up that debris and hurling it through the air, causing just unspeakable damage in certain parts. Then when the storm moved through the center, it dropped tornadoes, which were also deadly and damaging. Once it got to our side of Florida on the eastern coast, Milton did not go quietly here. Just take a look behind me. You can see that the surf is still roaring hours after the storm has completely left. Now, I want to talk about the seawall here, which we are standing in front of, and you can see that these powerful waves have begun to erode parts of the seawall. That staircase just behind me over there, that was standing yesterday. Now it is on its side. The hotel we were staying at, their seawall is about to go. But it pales in comparison to the death toll here, which also the eastern side of the island or of the state had a significant death toll. We're talking on the eastern side in St. Petersburg and Volusia County. Deaths in each of those counties, 1 in Polk and Citrus counties and 5 in St. Lucie counties from that outbreak of tornadoes. Jerika, these storms are hard to look away from. They can be fascinating. They are interesting, but they are also devastating every single time.
And speaking of devastation, the governor declared a state of emergency for 51 of the 67 counties there. Evacuation orders, as you know, were placed for dozens of those counties. Give us a sense of what happened to those that you've been able to speak to who did listen to those warnings. And again, you mentioned the few counties on that other side that have had the reports of deaths. But what are you hearing about those search and rescue efforts now?
Well, we know that search and rescue efforts are well underway at this point. On the Gulf side, 1,400 different crews were standing by ready to carry out search and rescue efforts, and they have been all day, busy at work, pulling people from their homes, rescuing people in the flood zones. That has also been the case here on the west or on the east or on the eastern side of the state as well, Jerika. We have seen crews at work, both trying to restore power, also urging people to avoid going back to their homes in those flood zones. We visited a flood zone earlier today, which was inundated with flood water from the storm, homes that had 1-2 feet of standing water. Now, the one thing about that water is, you're not just walking through water, you're walking through potentially debris, downed power lines that could still be live wires, toxic chemical leaks. Those are things to consider, and still people were going back to what was left of their homes, Jerika. People are eager to get back to see what has happened to their homes.
Yeah, really unfortunate for so many people there. Tom Hanson in Daytona Beach, thank you for your reporting. I want to go now to CBS News meteorologist and hurricane expert David Yeomans. Thank you so much for joining us, David. Hurricane Milton developed obviously very quickly, but it was unique, I understand, because it didn't hit at its highest intensity. Explain to our viewers what that means.
That's exactly right. This was remarkable in a number of ways. First of all, this was the second fastest intensifying Atlantic hurricane that we have ever seen. We talk about rapid intensification. That means a storm gains 35 miles per hour of wind speed in a day. This storm gained more than 90 miles per hour of wind speed in just 12 hours. Here's the storm on the maps Monday afternoon after rapidly intensifying as a monster Category 5. But fortunately, as predicted, even though the water was warm ahead of this storm, the atmospheric conditions started to rip the storm up a little bit. Upper level winds or wind shear weakened it to a Category 3 by landfall, then into a Category 1, and now the storm is no longer officially tropical. It seems like every single hurricane that has hit the U.S. recently has rapidly intensified until it hits land. Basically, it's hit at its maximum intensity. Luckily, this storm did not. It made landfall with winds near 120 miles per hour instead of 185 miles per hour like it had on Monday.
Wow. David, I want to talk about those tornadoes. You know, I think when you think of hurricanes, you don't always think of tornadoes, the ones that emerged on Wednesday. How rare was something like that?
You know, it's not rare to see tornadoes from a hurricane, but it is rare to see a tornado outbreak and also strong tornadoes like we saw here. Look at the maps. These are all of the cumulative tornado warnings issued in the state of Florida yesterday. An all-time Florida record, 126 tornado warnings in one day. Out of those, so far, we have 38 reported tornadoes. 38. Compare that to Helene, which produced 20 reported tornadoes, and Debbie, another storm that hit the U.S. this year, only produced 5.
We saw in the last live shot with Tom Hanson, the storm has moved on, but you can still see those waves crashing. Talk to us about what people sort of in the southeast region may expect to feel in terms of the after effects, even as it moves out to sea.
Yeah, luckily the storm is really improving or gone for the hardest hit areas, but the southeastern coast of the east coast of Florida, the coast of Georgia, and South Carolina still dealing with some of the winds from this storm. You can see on the map the tropical storm force wind field is still over 400 miles wide, and it's not that far from the coast. It will continue to move away, but with winds that strong and over that large of an area, we do still have a little bit of storm surge on the east coast of Florida. Storm surge, remember, is the rise in ocean level from the storm. Storm surge warnings have been allowed to expire, but we still have up to 3 feet of ocean level rise in places like Jacksonville, also backing up the St. Johns River.
All right, David Yeomans for us in Chicago. Thank you so much.